I'll come back. 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 I'll come back.
You guys aren't like live right now, right?
No.
Are you just on?
Okay, we're on now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I probably won't because I'll be.
I've always wanted to do an effects machine, but actually one of the people who's not here tonight is always just like, no, fuck you, don't you dare.
Oh dear, I have influenced them in a negative manner. This is
Sounding machine?
Do you have a link to the stream and everything like that? Because I know.
Oh yeah, we do. We posted it. Here, I'll. I'm fetching it. I'm fetching it.
I'm asking because a couple of my friends.
It's behind the counter.
Okay, just take a sip of water. I apologize if I cough, by the way, at all. I do have a bit of a cough right now.
Just as long as you're wearing a mask around us, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm wearing an e-mask. Do not fret.
All right, 5, 4, fuck you idiots. Hello and welcome to the Barcast. The bar gets lower every single fucking week. Your bartenders for this evening are Enigmatic Otaku.
I'm playing Digimon while we're doing this.
No, you're fucking not. Ravage?
Titties.
Milk.
It's me, that person you just mentioned.
And I'm chopping off my penis. This week, we have an absolutely amazing guest. We have EbonyGlow.
Hello, that is my name.
Glow, it's great to have you. We're so excited. You were one of the people that have been requested for a while.
Really?
So,
I was surprised when you said that.
You
told me oh, really?
No, we do take requests on the people that we invite onto the cast. You can check on Fimfic on our group. There is a forum that people can submit their requests. But anyway,
neat.
For those who haven't listened before, hello and welcome. We're a community-oriented podcast. We've been going for over 4 years. Like a long time. Anyway, you can catch up on previous episodes like John Delancey, Andrea Libman, Dusty Cat, and many more on places like iTunes, Google Play. Actually, I think Google Play is dead now. Anyway, Spotify, places where you can digest podcasts. We're streaming live on Twitch right now and uploading the VOD to YouTube. But there's certain things we don't say to our guests. Enigma, what do we not say to our guest?
We do not ask about politics or do we ask how big their penises are?
We do ask how big penises are, but we don't ask about religion.
No religion, no politics, no doxing information, no vowels such as A, E, I, or U, sometimes Y. We don't talk about Connecticut.
Correct. Ohio's for lovers. Anyway, we also have a drinking word, which I don't know if you guys set up before the cast. The drinking word for today is...
Bruh.
Bruh. One bruh. Let's go.
It's fuck and bruh? Oh my goodness.
So let's get this party started. Let's wind you up before we throw you to the wolves. For those who may not know who you are or catching this on YouTube and like, oh shit, who's this guy? Introduce yourself, EbonyGlow. What do you do in the fandom?
So yeah, my name is, as stated, my name is EbonyGlow. I write fics. I started writing them around back in May. But I've been around the fandom as a lurker for the past probably 7-8 years, just being a literal who. And then I decided to finally write stuff after being peer pressured into posting it. And I made an OC about a year ago that is kind of known somewhat. And yeah, I mean, it's really the main thing as well. It's the best way to sum it up, I suppose.
No, I think that's fair. Number 2, what got you into the fandom?
I actually remember exactly what happened. It was the show itself. Like I remember I caught May the Best Pet Win on the hub when I was like fucking 12, and I was like, this shit's lit, and I just started watching it. and
Damn.
then the YouTube rabbit hole got me with like Two Best Sisters Play, Jan Animations, that stuff, and I was like, yeah, I enjoy this, and then I stuck around since then, on and off here and there, but I've been around mainly for the entire time.
Yeah, Two Best Sisters Play is one of my favorite Pornhub tags.
Oh, well, I think we had a different experience.
I mean, I'd watch it, but nevertheless. So the next question is kind of a little bit of a spin, and I don't think this is something all people think about all the time. But what has gotten you to stay? What has been your favorite part of the fandom? Whether it's the art, the community, the stories, what is worth staying here for?
That's a good question. I'd argue partially the fandom's a double-edged sword, where like a lot of it keeps me wanting to stay, and a lot of it also pushes me away. But I think the creative side of the fandom, as well as like all the good people that I've met, has definitely made me feel welcome and wanting to stay. Of course, there are bad apples here and there, but for the most part, it's been very positive. So I'd say the fandom as a whole, as well as just the entire world that we built around the series and everything like that. I love the characters, so there's so much to do and so much to see, and it's still
So
going.
what's wrong with
Well,
taking the back streets? You never know if you don't.
yeah,
I thought it
exactly.
in my head. I thought it in my head.
But yeah, I think it's mainly the fandom and the people in it.
Awesome. What would you say to the people that have been supportive and helping you get this far so far in the fandom?
Get better taste and fix.
That's fair. That's a fair thing to say to your fans.
Nah, I'm kidding. That's really sweet that they like the stuff I write, because I think I'm dog shit. But I mean, if they like it, hey,
um
I'll take the
and
compliment.
last question before we actually jump into our thread here. Um who is best pony?
Rainbow Dash.
That was
Uh,
quick.
I
Didn't
suppose you
even.
want to come. I suppose you want to come inside Rainbow Dash.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Only,
bro.
only degenerates want to do that.
yeah, I know.
And look where you are.
There is nothing. You're at home. You're with family right now. We are all shit. We are all fucks. We are all brus. There's so many drinks right now. If you're not drinking at home, you
Oh, I've
better
already
just
gone
fucking
through.
start.
I've gone through an entire beer already.
Good, good. All right. First set of questions. Wow, we got a lot of new people here in this thread. This is really exciting. Okay, Hard Cannon is up first. Number one, what makes a good fanfic, and what makes a good not safe for work fanfic in general?
No, okay. I mean, it depends what you're writing on in terms of like a fanfic, like a pony fic. I think if you're writing canon, it's the biggest, most important thing is knowing the characters. Like for me, whenever I write a character in a fic, in general, or like I have an entire doc where I have lists of characters' names, all their in-depth traits, episode references that I know are good for them, where they're in character. I have like a list of like locations in the world, a bunch of like all the plants, animals, things like that. So I mean that's over the top, but the main thing to make a good fic, at least for this fandom, is definitely like know the character you're writing. Don't just try to like off the top of your head make up a personality for them, because that will just ruin people's immersion. Like if they want you to see you write Rainbow Dash, they want to make sure you know the character, so you keep them in character. Because I think for most people that read stories and experience them, like OOC characters are just like they kind of can be a buzzkill,
Mm-hmm.
and that can really ruin someone's engagement in the story. As for not safe for work fix, the same thing applies to keep them in character, but I do think like being very descriptive is also a very important factor. I always say a good reference for that is my buddy Sumleech. He makes very good sensory details in his stories that are always good to pick up on and read and get a grasp on things, because it lets you kind of immerse yourself in the story. Um, and also, I mean, just for me, I like it when you use like proper terminology and like proper like to keep it like in like the pony sense. Like you can use like it may be cringe to some, it may not be cringe to others, but like I like to make sure like it's more immersive to the world, so you keep the language the same as they would use. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It just helps it keep immersive. But the biggest core thing I think it is just know the character you're writing.
No, I think that's well said. One thing that you said that stood out to me in particular that I haven't heard often is that you kind of built your own info binder where a lot of people tend to go to MLP wikis or fandom wikis to get their kind of information. What led you to build your own kind of document or show bible rather than using what the internet's already created?
So the reason being is that I can because I have a really good memory with the shows. Like if you show me a screenshot from an episode, like I can literally tell you like what episode, what's going on, and what's being said, and sometimes even skip right to the scene.
Hmm.
So I like that because I think people you have like the bare bones knowledge of like the characters and like you have Ponyville, Canterlot, you have Manhattan, but I like to have like the little details that not many people would recognize. Like when they name like a when I rewatch the show, which I do often, if they name like a disease or like a plant or like an animal, and they describe it briefly or they show it briefly, I write that down into my doc. I have a section for like each little thing. And it's like I can use this in a because I even though I don't publish it, I write a lot of safer work, like a lot. I
Hmm.
just haven't posted any yet. But, I have that in, like, a big old document in a long sheet where I'm like, "Okay, if I need an animal for this scene or if I need a location that makes sense, I can pop into that doc, look through it, and see what can apply." Like, "Okay, that's, like, a thing I can use as, like, an antagonistic force," or, "This is a location I can use to set up this next event." Or, I need a plant to use in this scenario. That's a plant that exists, and it kinda fits that niche I need because of what was
Hmm.
shown and described. And that's mainly the thing I do, because I've also, like I read through all the comics, I read through all the books. Any bit of lore and information I can get, I go for and try to find,
Hmm.
and that's usually what I do. I just try to keep as much knowledge as I can, just so I can connect it all. I even have, like I literally even have the iOS app, and I buy characters so I can read the description, so I understand what the hell they are. Like,
Wow.
it's because I mean, it's also because it's a fun game, it's a nice brain rot game,
The
but
Game
it's like
Loft one, right?
what happened?
The Game Loft one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was addicted to that for a long
Yeah,
time.
it's a nice vibe, and it's just like and I like to make sure that I have as much, a grasp of the world as possible. I think that is a very important aspect to have
Wow.
for safe for work primarily. I mean, not safe for work, really, they're only there for the smut, but if you wanna write, like, a long safe for work story, like, I have a story that from the looks of it's gonna be, like, 1,000,000 words at least.
Holy
Like,
shit.
I have, like, a whole plan for it. I like safe work more, writing it, it's just that it's not as, you can't do it as quick.
Yeah, no, I suppose that's fair. I mean, kind of a clop, like especially like a well formed clop story, you got to put in at least 6 to 8 thousand words if you're
Oh, yeah,
gonna
like yeah, like
get the do the deed, so to speak.
yeah, like my fix because I like pacing, they're usually at least 10,000 words.
Yeah.
So, like, I like pacing, I like adding a bit of story to it, like plot to the
Hmm.
porn. I'm not saying that my plots are good, but, like, I at least try to add something that's more immersive.
Yeah. You don't just like line one. He inserted the cock in the vagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Rainbow Dash invited Fluttershy to open a jar of peanut butter for her. It led to sex.
And then
Wow.
they had sex at the end. I should, like, do, like, a fic that's, like, 10,000 words of build up and then just goes and then they had sex at the end, and then see how many dislikes
You should post it on April Fools.
mark it as, like, explicit porn tags, super, like, a
Yeah.
million, like, million, like, content tags, and just fucking nothing happens. It'd be great.
And then they fucked.
And then
That's
they had
it.
the end,
And
and they
she
had
got
many
super pregnant.
super per da da da. Exactly.
Cool. There's a lot of writer groups out there that would actually kill for a kind of
I'm
archive
probably
show binder like
Yeah, I'm
you've
probably
kind of
gonna make
assembled.
it public soon. I just kinda wanna, like, do it because it's, like, my little thing. I'm like, "I have this, no one else does, hee hee hoo ha." But, like
Your little archive.
but, like, no, I'm
Uh,
probably like, I know I'm gonna give it to, like, Leech whenever he wants it, and I'm probably gonna make it public.
When you're describing your archive, I imagine it in the way of like, you remember old video game manuals that when you open up, it has like lore about monsters and stuff like that?
Yeah, kinda. It's like that, actually, and if I can, like, picture references, I do. If there's any fan art of it, I, like, add fan art. Like, the fan art does have, like, references on how I can describe how they look. So it has, like, each, like and it's, like, a bunch of different tabs. I do, like one of my jobs is, like, management, so, like, I know how to, like, format, like, documents, shit like that. So I just keep it all for like, very clear cut. It's like a glossary of sorts, essentially.
Hell yeah.
This is a timber wolf. Approach them and press R1 to destroy.
I
All right,
love Timberwolves, they're fun animals.
we'll take the next question. Can you rank the main six in order of most smashable to least smashable?
Rainbow Dash is the most, obviously.
Of course.
I would say Rainbow Dash, Twiggy, Pinkie Pie.
Twiggy? Wait, not Twilight. Are you referring to Big Twilight or
No,
Small?
no, no, like Twilight, Twilight. I just don't call her
Okay, when you
Twilight.
say Twiggy, I
Sorry,
imagine,
sorry, sorry. Princess Twilight Sparkle, the princess of friendship that lives in the castle. That one. Uh, so it's yeah, Rainbow, Twilight, Pinkie, I'm, Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, my fault, OG. But I mean, I'm saying what I'm gonna say. I love them all. I love them all. I love them all. It's just that Fluttershy's never really hit for me.
I imagine in most people's
My brother.
I imagine that in most people's lists, Pinky is more closer to the bottom because I don't know. I feel like if you touch her, she's sticky all the time, like candy.
Yeah, we'll say like candy.
Candy's based, so I mean, whatever.
Number 3. How do you define out of character? Are there any examples in the franchise you can think of? Ooh, that's a great question.
The entirety of Mysterious Mare-to-Well is the pinnacle of bad writing. 28 Pranks Later. I've noticed if you watch the show, Pinkie Pie and Rainbow are out of character the most. They're written the worst, which is annoying because I think those two have the best potential for character depth.
You know, I just found a connection right here. You say that you love Rainbow Dash, she's your favorite, and the two episodes that you appear to not like are the two episodes where they fuck with everyone in the town decides to fuck with Rainbow Dash.
That's not even a bias thing. I think Rainbow Dash is insufferable in 28 Pranks Later. I fucking hate her in that episode. I want to like smack her in the face. She's annoying. But like Mysterious Mare-to-Well is like arguably my least favorite episode in the entire series. Just because like everything about it is frustrating to look at. Just how her friends act, how she acts, everything about it. But the way I define out of character, it's like if you can't see them, even if it's an explicit thing, if you can't see like their show depict itself ever acting in such a way, it makes it kind of difficult to because out of character is hard to define. But like if Rainbow is not being very brash, very acting before she thinks, unless there's a logical reason for her to like do that. But otherwise, she is someone that just acts before thinking. That's just how she works. Same thing with Starlight. Starlight will just use a fucking spell before thinking. Oops, that's a drink. But but that's the thing. It's like you gotta see like, okay, unless you have given a reason for a character to act away from their true nature, which you can if you do proper setup and the plot dictates it. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense. Like I have a very a scene from the movie, the FIM movie that I always like to discuss, which is where Twilight yells at Pinky. Because a lot of people dictate that as out of character, right? That seems to be like, oh, she's super out of character. I'm always very gray on that because Twilight as a character is someone who stresses out very easily. She doesn't like having too much pressure. She's afraid of failure. And there in that scene, she's essentially failing. And I mean, she's out of character by not trusting her friends, yes, but her reaction to Pinkie Pie, where she screams at her, kind of makes sense, personally.
It's really not out of character for
Yeah,
her, though. I mean,
exactly.
come
It's
on.
not. It's not. No, it's not out of character at all. But people say it is.
I know
And
that exact scene you're talking about, but for me, the way I always interpret it is like when she yells at Pinkie Pie, her horn flashes with lightning a little bit, and to me, that's the equivalent of pulling a gun out on your friend.
That's fair, but also magic's connected to emotions somewhat. Like it's mainly Starlight that has magic connected to emotions, but it's a proven thing that unicorn emotions can affect their magic just in general. So that was just her getting angry and stressed out, and just made her horn flare essentially.
Well, I think what's interesting is that we're touching kind of gently on this. I won't call it a problem, but it's this concept where the show canon and head canon can be at odds from person to person.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I think head can't like because I mean you can do things that the show was too scared to do, and also because of like child rating, like Rainbow Dash having things that are akin to like narcissistic personality disorder, things like that, like the insecurities of the characters, their flaws that they couldn't really expand on because Hasbro was very, it's for kids. And at the end of the day, it's for kids.
Mhm.
But like that's why I think personally I like the fanon depictions of all the characters more than the canon by like a landslide.
Oh yeah,
I
I
think
think
like
most people are like that too.
yeah, I think is like I think I say this time and time again. This is not even my bias talking. I think Rainbow and Pinky have the biggest area for like character development and character depth because I don't know about you guys, I fucking love shit. That's another drink. When Pinky is like acts serious under like proper circumstances where she's more stern and more mature, and like this makes sense to be grounded here.
Yes.
Like when she had to babysit the twins, yeah.
That and also like even that scene in the movie, I loved that. I mean, Pinky has the right to be mad at her, and she has a reason to be serious. Or in the Mean Six, where she defends Fluttershy, and she gets mad at the mean Twilight, the alternate Twilight, and she's like she looks annoyed and she's angry and she's being very serious, and her voice is more focused and less pitchy. I like that because it shows that there's more depth to these characters. And same thing with Rainbow. Like in the show Bible, she was meant to be like mysterious in the sense that she flies off for several days, and it's like they play on her insecurities a lot, but they never expand on that because people think, oh, ego, because she's an asshole. Like, no, that's a fucking facade. Damn it, that's a facade that is put up to protect her fear of failure, which is kind of addressed in the one that was made to make, I forgot the name of the episode, but the one that's made to make fun of bronies that Emmy Larson wrote.
Oh yeah.
That
Well, I mean, you can go before that and go with the oh fuck, the Young Flyers competition. We saw
Yeah,
her.
Sonic Rainboom, where she's terrified and is
Mhm.
scared of failing. Yeah, and also like, I mean, there's a lot of things too. Like they pin her as, I'm gonna go into a character depth moment. I don't want to sidetrack too much, but
No,
like
this is fine.
they pin characters to blame too often in the show, where they like when Rainbow was like mad at her parents for being too supportive. Like that's completely valid. Like she's not in the fault there, in my opinion. She shouldn't have yelled at them, but like she has the right to be annoyed. But they pin her as the villain, which doesn't make sense because that's against her nature. Like she has the right to not want that. She's been put on a pedestal, which is also reflective again of her need to feel like she needs to succeed and needs to feel that she needs to be better than what she is. And then they kind of shut her down on that. And also Newbie Dash, where the Wonderbolts literally give her a nickname that gives her like partial like flashbacks back to like when she was in school getting teased and bullied. And like Lamau, suck it up. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it's just they don't let the characters stand their ground in certain areas, which lets them kind of fade away in terms of depth.
Mm.
And when you go into the fan and actually will like go through that. One of my favorite fics, I don't remember the name of it, but it's a fic about if Rainbow didn't forgive the other main six for like fucking with her during just another drink during the mysterious Murderwell episode where she like
Yeah.
is she and I love that story. It's like it's a realistic reaction. They could never do that, but it's a very realistic reaction because she has this fear of needing attention because she feels like she's not good enough, and you completely made a clown of her and you made her feel alone. It's like she has every reason to be mad. That's the only way I would like Mysterious Murderwell is that fic. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of depth to the characters in the fandom that canon can never touch.
No, I completely agree. And it's just it's an interesting conversation to try and address head canon versus show canon because when folks get this, well, in this episode they're really out of character. Well, it's like, well, that episode is technically canon. That is a part of their personality. So it's interesting to hear the justification on why this doesn't fit the character and why it does. And I'm not saying the writers are God. I don't know, infallible. Like what they write is golden and can't be critiqued. But
Yeah,
it's
no, I
interesting to
mean,
kind of analyze that.
yeah, every end of the day, like canon is canon. You can't do anything about it. You can bitch, moan, and whine about it all day, but like that's just the canon depiction. You can call back to that in your own ways, but you can also twist it in your own fanon depictions, and you can make your own explanation. Like you can explain how that happened, why it went the way it did, if you write it out right. Like there's a ways to work around like canon things that people may not like.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we got questions from Sapphire Spark, another person we haven't seen here before. Number one, when did you first think about writing fics?
Um, it was probably September of last year when I started talking to We Lost, a couple other people, and they this fic actually isn't out yet, but they had a big thing about like Sombra, and they wanted me to write a Sombra story, so I wrote it for fun. I never published it. I didn't like it. I'm actually rewriting it now, but I started writing back then, but it wasn't until We Lost made his Prismatic Pest art set. He made that for me. It's like a surprise birthday gift, and it was like, oh, I could write a story for this. And he was like, oh, if you could, he made like a request about how it went. So I was like, okay, this will be like 10K words max, maybe. And I wrote it, and I was like, okay, it's going to 15K words, but I'm almost at the art set. Then it went to 20K, and then I was like, he likes his story a lot. I'll write a bit more, and it went on and on. It was at 68,000 words, and I was like, I'm not posting this. And then him and Leech both said, stop being a bitch, post it. And I was like, well, all right. I got bullied into it and I posted it and it went fairly well. Like my first fic got #1 featured somehow, and I was like, all right, that's cool, I guess. And since then, I've just been writing for shits and gigs.
Nice. I mean, being peer pressured into posting a story is typically how a lot of people get started.
Yeah.
But there ain't nothing wrong with that. Number 2, let's get to know you a little bit better. Do you play any video games or tabletop games? And if so, which ones are your favorites?
Yeah, I play a lot of video games. Yeah, I mentioned I play a fair bit of Call of Duty, Smite. I used to play professionally. Well, not professionally, semi-professionally. Smash Bros, Ace Attorney. My favorite game of all time is Banjo and Kazooie. Um, unfortunately, League is another one.
Ain't nothing wrong with League.
Well, that is
In
not a
fact,
good-
we can play some League after this.
and I did like Overwatch before they ruined it.
That's
Right?
Yeah, so I used to like Overwatch until they added a character called Sojourn. So then that changed. But yeah, I like to play a lot of varying games, usually with friends. I'm not a single player guy usually, although I do intend to finally open my PS5 and play the new God of War. But yeah, usually it's multiplayer games. Really anything, as long as other people want to play it, I'll play it. Except Valorant.
All right. Next question is, who are your top 3 best not safe for work artists?
We lost Slime Wiz and Arrow Zero.
Not even a second of hesitation. Just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
What makes them so special?
Well, I mean, it's not even. It's. I mean, I guess it's partially biased because those three are like some of my best friends. But also they're like the people that I looked at way before I even like made EbonyGlow as a persona. Like I was already like a big avid follower of Slime Wiz. I was a big avid follower of We Lost. I was a big avid follower of Arrow. There's a lot of great artists like are as good as them. But like those three, I have the more personal connection to it. Beyond just be like outside of just being a close friend with them, it's more so just like these are the people that like kind of got me into like the naughty end of things, I suppose. Would be the term I guess the way I could word it.
You could say they popped your cherry.
Yes.
Wow.
But
All
yeah,
right.
that would be the list.
Cool. Number 4, who's the hottest MLP villain?
Sombra.
Okay.
Questions of who's more attractive, whatever, and immediately you have an answer just ready to go.
It's Sombra with Chrysalis like right behind him. For me,
That's
at least.
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I would 100% watch it or read a story about with those two just going at it.
I do have something I'm working on like that, so let me keep you in the loop.
Nice.
And then he's like, crystals, as he whispers that in her ear.
I pretend his later season voice doesn't exist.
Yeah, when he came back, he had like a slight gay wisp.
I mean, hey, I'm by King, but like I was just like, man, that's not the voice. That's not the voice I had in mind for him. You know, I was like, that's just not what I was thinking. But yeah, that I would say Samba is the top for me.
Number 5. Do you have any tips on how to write faster?
That's a good one because there are days like for Prismatic Pest, I wrote 25,000 words of that fic in a single day. Because I just write. I don't have like a really a pre-made plan usually. I just write as I go. So I think the best way to just write faster is kind of like let your mind flow, let your fingers just move on the keyboard, write what you think works, and then if you don't like it, you can always read over it, be like, okay, I'm not sure how I feel about this part or how I did this part, and just redo it, restructure it. Because if you're sitting there hesitating every time you try to write, you're eventually just gonna just be like, I'll just do this later, or you know what, I'm done. I want to do something else. You know. And it's like you're gonna be holding yourself back with like this own like mental barricade you're giving yourself. And just to start writing, I mean, I always say this: just write. You know, it doesn't have to be good. As long as you write something, you can write it again and again and again until it gets better. You know, because every time you write it again, it's going to be better than the last time, and it feels satisfying to read it because you know you made an improvement. And that, and also just reading other people's stories. Whenever I want to write, I always read one of Leech's fics right before. I get like my little writing brain cranking, and then I'm like, all right, let's write a story. That's usually what I do.
Now, let me ask you this: when you find yourself reading someone else's work, do you find yourself almost copying their voice sometimes?
Being I know Leech's voice, yeah, sometimes. Um, I will sometimes read certain things in his voice, but typically I just have like the inner conscious narrating it for me.
No, I mean as in
Oh,
so
the
when
character?
people write no, when people write when they write a narrative, they typically have a certain set of word choice or sentence flow that is
Oh,
commonly called a voice. So
Yeah.
do
Oh
you
yeah.
find, to rephrase the question, do you find yourself writing like them?
Oh yeah. Leech has influenced my writing a ton.
Hmm.
Like he's like my sensei of sorts. Is the way I would refer to him. So I don't understand the terminology there. That's my fault. But no, yeah, like there is some reflections where I'll read something. I'm like, that is way too leechy. And then I'll I'll reevaluate it and rewrite it a bit because I'm like, I don't want to like beat this too similar to Leech, but like he influences me a lot. He's a very good inspiration. I think for most people that want to get an NSFW, I would heavily recommend him as a starting point, personally. But yeah, there's times where that happens.
Cool. All right. Next, what do you, the question is, what do you do besides writing amazing fics?
Well, that's a very biased question. I do some music. I edit for a couple companies and stuff like that, and I do marketing. That's my primary jobs. I do media marketing and management.
Uh,
So I just keep myself busy with just side things for fun.
all right, you piqued my ears with music. What do you play?
I actually I mix.
You
So
mix. You're a
yeah, so
DJ. That's fucking awesome.
yeah, it's been like forever, but I mean I've had like a song me and my buddies worked on like about a year ago to the date almost. Which was like a pop rock album. I'll share it with you guys after because I just don't want to like dox who I am. But yeah,
No, it's absolutely fair. I've been leaning away from the fandom more over the years and moving towards being like a singer songwriter. So I think
yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool and really respectable. So anyway, next question. How thick for flanks to be perfect?
Oh Jesus. I think all flanks are perfect. You know, you can't complain. You got the tone ones, you got the plump ones. It's all good. It's all great time. So I think they're always perfect. I mean, it's flanks. How can you complain? That's
Ye-
my view.
nice. All right. Next set of questions are from Slashing Prices. Hey Enigma, would you like to ask these?
Sure. Slashing prices. Here we go. Hey, here for my buddy Ebony. I got a few questions I'd like to submit for him. Number one. Who are your femfic inspirations? AKA, which writers on here are you inspired by?
I think that one's been subtly answered already by Leech, but actually, Leech isn't the actual core inspiration. The person who actually got me into fixed period and into just fanfic as a whole is a user by the name of Dustchu. Uh, he is the reason why I actually came back to the fandom after I left it back in like
No
2015.
shit. Dust is a
Huh.
great dude.
Yeah, I absolutely love Dust. So he is probably the entire reason I ever got into fan fiction. With Leech inspiring me to write more.
So, number two. Do you play any video games or tabletop games? If so,
Oh,
which ones are your favorite?
that was the
I'm looking
question
at the
prior.
wrong
Yeah,
one.
that was the question prior. Yeah.
Oops. Okay, number two. Do you write the story as you go, or do you plot it all before starting? And you already answered that also.
Partially, yeah. I mean, just to rephrase really quickly, I actually have like a rough bone structure. Like I'll be like, "Hey, this is an event. This is an event. This is an event," and then I'll just make up the events leading to them as I go. So I'll have like, I want this to happen, and then I'll just write as I go and figure out how to get there.
You refer to it as a bone structure, but I think of it more like building a bridge with like the main parts of the bridge, and you just build the segments connecting them. That's how
Yeah,
I.
that's a good analogy for it too.
Number three. Can you give us a sneak peek or a tease of your next story?
Uh, I got like 17 stories, bro. I've got two Mod Pie stories coming out. One of them is with We Lost. Another one is with my friend Canary. I've got a Safer Work story coming out. I wanted to do my own take on like the Immortal Twilight gimmick with G5. So I want to do that as a Safer Work thing. I have like a bunch of art being made with it because all my fics, it's like a requirement for me that I have to have like directly associated art with it, or it's like a direct collab. So like all my fics have technical custom art cover art because we plan it as a collab from the start. Um, but what else do I have? I have more of the like the Uncommon Practices series. I have the Somber fic I mentioned. Um, what else do I have? That's the main pipeline. I know Slimewiz and I want to do like a timber corruption thing of some sorts down the line. Um, my friends influence my decisions and stories a lot, if you can't tell. But that's kind of like the whole like rough summary of what I have coming up, at least, and also them fighting herds story.
Ooh. I also play fighting herds.
Yeah, I was supposed to do it for the them fighting herds art pack, but I got hit with really bad burnout, and I just couldn't do it in time.
Also, speaking of the Twilight and G5 thing, I also have something in the works that I want to do for that.
Yeah, it's a very fun concept. I think it's a
Oh,
very
yeah.
fun concept.
Number 4. What gave you the idea to come up with a timber version of your OC?
Oh yeah, so I don't know if you guys know what my OC looks like, but he has like a normal look, and then he has like this like timber version. I just thought it was cool. I was like, fucking that's another drink. I thought Timberwolves were awesome. They're like my favorite like creature from the series. That isn't like obviously a pony or something that's more cognitive. But I thought they looked cool, and I was like, I was going through tags on Derpy, and I saw that Timber Pony was a tag, and I was like, what does this look like? And then I saw like Timberjack art, and I was like, that's pretty neat. I kind of think that's underused and it's different. So I talked to Slimewiz and I was like, let's design this character with this concept in mind. And then we kind of made it up as we went, and he ended up looking like that. The scarf is something that he added in himself, and that's how he came to be. And funnily enough, he's existed for one. My OC's existed for one whole year, uh, in less than 4 hours. So that's pretty neat. So his technical birthday is also in 4 hours.
Happy Conception Day.
Ooh, conception!
Happy Conception Day.
Merry
You were
birthday! Let's say.
you were conceived today.
Exactly. His reference sheet was birthed on this day. I'm already looking at Rob's first question. I hate this guy.
All right,
you-
up next is Rob Cakron53, also known as that guy who wrote My Little Dashie. Number 1, why you a hoe question mark?
Is my only response.
2, if you had to pick between putting your dongle in a steamy pona, a juicy margina, or between 2 plump perky teats, which would you choose?
I actually fucking hate this guy. Uh, this honestly, this is gonna. If I say the wrong thing, I'm gonna get so much shit from my friends. Let's say Ponex. It's universal of gender.
It is universal. It's
Yeah, it's
it's
a
it's
universal
not
ticket.
it's not gender conforming. It's just like, you know what, everyone's got a ponut. Everyone, as long as
Yeah,
it's kind of clean. Anyway,
let's say that. Let's say that one.
Turd, we see you with so much we lost art, but if you could get any fandom artist, be them safe for work or not safe for work, to do a cover art, who would you grovel before, and why do you love their style so much?
Shouting is fun.
Dude,
Chatting
yes.
is fun.
Just because one, I can make him draw a pony again. And two, just because I saw his work like for years, so probably shouting. If it had to be a current artist, I mean, I know most of the artists I work with. Who would be someone I would want? I can't name anyone off the top of my head, but I mean, if I had to pick, shouting would be the first one I would pick.
Hell yeah. All right, number 4. You suddenly find yourself in Equestria with no bits and need a place to stay. Do you go to Sweet Apple Acres to become Big Mac's little butt slut, or to the Castle of Friendship where Glim Glam keeps you in Twilight's old lab to do all sorts of weird stuff that may not be ethical or legal?
I'm gonna give Rob a firm talking to after this. Um, so, um, honestly, Glimmer has grown on me a lot recently, so I'd probably say that the option with Glim Glam, because I used to not
Glimmer's
like her.
good.
Yeah, I used to not like her. But then me and We Lost and a couple of friends were rewatching like the show, and we got to season 6, and I was like, all right, she's kind of based, kind of fuck with her. And then I wrote her, and I was like, okay, she's kind of hot. And then Arrow made a really really good art piece of her, and I was like, okay, she's fucking hot, brother. Okay, and then she went up my list for like holy fuck characters, because I have a handful of holy fuck characters, and she's now one of them.
Dude,
Yeah,
I completely relate. Like, for a while, or a long time ago, like almost a decade ago, I just fucking despised Princess Cadence, and I wrote her in a story and began doing research and looking at fandom art, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah, that's
This
the
is my
thing.
favorite character.
Once you write a character, it completely skews your vision of them. Like
100%. Yes.
me, I was like never too big on lightning dust, and then I wrote it because I wanted to write something for my buddy Testostopone, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a lightning dust thing, and I did it, and I was like, okay, she's kind of like season 1 Dash, but with like less appealing traits, but that's kind of hot. So then, and so I was like, yeah, I fucking fuck with her now. That's too. I'm gonna make you guys go become sailors at this point. I need another beer, but yeah. I mean, I would say that's the case. So I would pick the Gloom Glam option.
All right. While you do, you're gonna get a beer, right?
Oh, I have a mini
Right?
fridge. So I got it ready.
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay. We're gonna skip this Barcast fan fiction. I'm sorry, Rob. I love you. I love
I'll
getting
give Rob a
Barcast
private
fan-
reading. I'll give him
No.
a private reading.
No, well, maybe later we'll read it. But goddamn, like I
Jesus.
love it when we get so much Barcast
Can I
fan
say something like,
fiction.
wait, can I say one thing? Rob, this is the most writing you've done in the past like year and a half.
Jesus.
Jesus.
I want him to work on his fix.
Fucking zing, take that. Rob's just gonna fucking jump into this call and be like, "You fuck."
I love
He's-
Rob. No, Rob's
He's
an
gonna
absolute
have
sweetheart.
planes in the background.
I fucking love Rob.
Lanes, no, we're gonna hear him like sifting through an ocean of cans just to say "fuck you."
Kinda,
Oh my
There we
gosh,
go.
there's
Horse with
so
no
many
name.
questions here. I'll try and keep it going. Horse with no name. Rav, do you want to take him?
Rap.
That must.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm here. First with no name. Number 1. How did you get so good at writing? Did you write other stories before coming to film fiction, or did you study to become a writer?
So one, I'm not that good at writing, silly horse. But did I write other stories before coming to film fiction? No. I kind of just came out the gate with Prismatic Pest. That was the first thing I've ever written, like proper thing I've ever written. I did study to become a writer. My forte was never. I mean, I liked like English in school, but like I never really cared for it. Like I don't have practice. I've never like studied it. I just learn as I go. Like I learn how to write better as I go. Like you can see the difference between Prismatic Pest and my third story. And like it's each time I try to grow and better myself as a writer. Um, there's a lot of errors in my fix that people don't realize either. Like uncommon practices. I originally wrote that as a green text, so it was all in first person, and I changed it to third person. But there's still a lot of tense problems in that story that I didn't catch that people don't notice.
That's one of
So
the most common issues for green text writers. Speaking as a previous one, I was one of the heads of like Flutter Rape General for a long time. But like,
that's
that's one of
that
the
name.
biggest fucking problems going from fucking second person to third person or first person.
Yeah, it's when you try to translate to a fic. I was like, I think I caught them all, and every time I reread it, I find a new mistake, and I was like, how did I miss this?
Yeah.
That's another thing too. I get so frustrated when I find mistakes in my stories.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I still struggle. I still struggle with tenses, and I didn't start in third person at all. Or I mean, second person. So question 2: do you have other hobbies besides writing? I mean, we covered that, but
Yeah, like I also do like sports on the side, but besides that, that's about it.
All right. Number 3: when did you discover MLP? What do you like and dislike about it?
So yeah, back when season 3 was airing, I even though the first episode came out, the newest episode that came out was going to be Sleepless in Ponyville, which is one of my favorite episodes. Period. Because it actually has Rel Red and Rainbow Dash in it, which is a rare commodity. What do I dislike and dislike about it? Again, it's like a double-edged sword. I like the show, I like the fandom, but I also dislike the show and dislike the fandom at times.
Yeah.
Of course I wish it was more socially accepted, but I mean, people are gonna be weird about it always. But I think that's also adds some charm to it, which is another thing I like about it. And I do like that it's kind of like hit like a nice plateau of sorts in terms of size. Like as people leave, more people come in. So it's kind of it feels stable. I mean, if you look at new registrations on FinFic, it's actually like at its second all-time high in terms of just time span, which is really nice. But I love the fandom. I also hate the fandom, and I love the show, and I also hate the show. It depends on the day. It depends on what I'm seeing.
It's like edit a picture of Helga and Arnold from Hey Arnold, and you're Helga, and you're stroking a picture of Arnold, and it shows the fanfiction fandom. You're like, I hate him, but I love him.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I love to hate and I hate to love, but this is how it goes.
Alrighty. Uh, I think we kind of already answered this one as well. What do you think about G5, and would you write about it?
I don't think I said anything about G5 at all yet, I think. But so I'm gonna say first off, from a marketing like business guy, holy Jesus, is this a cataclysmic failure of a business decision? Um, but I think it's okay. I think going 3D was a horrible decision, but fun fact: 3D is more appealing to children. It's a proven study. That's why you see most.
Really?
Yeah, it's a factual thing. 3D is more marketable to kids. It's easier to consume. So that's why you see like a lot of kids programs on like YouTube. They're usually 3D. If you guys notice, like Cocomelon's a 3D thing. You have all these programs that are always 3D because it's easier to produce, and it's more consumed by children. I do think they've done G5 very poorly from just business wise and story wise. I mean, they release a G5 movie and then they take seasons 5 through 8 off of Netflix, which makes no logical sense. Because now you introduce people to this concept for the first time, and they can't get any of the backstory because for some reason you decided to connect it to G4 to milk it, obviously. But I think this generation would be far far better if it had its own roots and didn't try to ride the coattails of G4. I do think it should have been 2D because we like to do watch parties in my server where I drink a lot and then I watch G5 episodes or anything with G5 and I notice like so many errors and so many mistakes. Because I'm very like attentive when I watch shows. I notice like little Easter eggs, little secrets all the time, and I always notice like errors. Like in Make Your Mark, I noticed in the trailer that Sunny's cutie mark teleports like 4 units to the left at some point, and it's like super pale. I was like seething over it. I was like, "How does this happen?" But I mean, G4 had its errors too. I think I'm also coping because G4. I'm a big G4 fan, so obviously I'm gonna
Okay.
cope.
Well,
Um,
I think
I
there's
mean,
this general frustration that Generation 4, it at least had, I don't know how exactly to describe it,
it had
but it
charm.
had it had a charm. It had this sort of storyline to it that felt almost similar to like an anime. It had the right amount of
well,
melodrama. It felt like the kind of cartoons that millennials watched growing up in that like
so I can answer
2000s,
this.
late 90s. And I'll let you. Let me quickly finish my thought. And G5
Yeah.
feels very sanitized to me. It feels very basic. Anyway, please wrap.
Okay, so I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. I'm like, okay, what what was that lightning in a bottle that they got for G4 versus G5? And I was thinking about, well, the main thing, and I don't like calling back to it because it's everybody's favorite gripe, is they did not have a single creator with a singular vision like what they had when Faust was running it during the first 2 seasons. That single person, right? It was her idea, more or less. It was her idea that she was building up. It was this one singular vision, this one singular goal that she was working on. But when they pulled her out, they had to replace her with somebody else. So then we got Larson. And then after Larson, I don't know, and honestly probably don't care who else they got. But if you
Haber.
notice, especially after Larson, they stopped doing the singular vision of a particular person and went with the vision of a writing group. So they're having a whole bunch of different writers working on it, and and from anything and everything I've seen of G5, because I refuse to watch it, it has the same feel as the later episodes of G4, where it's just like they decided to get everybody in a room and decide what they think is best for it, rather than following an idea, following a good solid path and an end goal. It's something they don't freaking have for the new episodes or for
I will,
G5.
I will say this: there's a lot of factors to G4 success. You have it coming out at the turn of the internet. You have a very creative woman behind it. You also
Hmm.
you have well written female characters, which is an extraordinarily hard thing to do, especially in modern day.
Hmm.
You have the aesthetic, the well animated, the composure, the whole uncanness of it being so popular. There's a lot of factors that helped it succeed. And now you have
Well,
G5. It's brewed from corporation. It's a chair of
yeah.
corporate workers
Yeah.
that
Well, and there's one of the other fallings.
which is what.
Just what you
So
said with
the other
Oh.
thing,
corporation.
yeah, it was exactly that. So you remember what I said about um, it had a singular creator on it. Well, if you have access to the original show Bible, which some of us do, she very specifically said that she wanted to write the characters so that it wasn't just necessarily for kids, so that it could be enjoyed by parents who had to sit there and watch this with their kids, by the way.
Yeah.
So they wrote the characters in a way that was, if not appealing, then at least tolerable by people after a certain age range, which worked phenomenally. That's not something they do anymore, because if you notice how they write the late episodes and G5 is they write it, oh, we're going to write this for kids. We're going to just write this for kids. And
I
every
wouldn't.
show that I've ever seen that does that fucking destroys itself.
I don't think it's for kids per se. I think it's just having like an identity crisis as a whole of what it
Mhm.
wants to be and what it wants to cater towards. I think that's like something that occurs all the time with the later seasons shows and all that stuff. Um I will say, when you open G5 with a I'm a Lou art style of the G4 cast, I saw that and I was like, you are already setting yourself up for disaster because you are immediately
Yep.
opening a new franchise with the old one. You are trying to ride off its coattails and you're scared to approach it like this,
Yep.
which is fine as long as they didn't rely too heavily on it. And I was like, okay. They immediately start shitting on the lore. And I was like, okay, you're
Yep.
already kind of stepping on its grave, which is frustrating as someone that cares about story. But then again, you have to look at it this way. Kids don't care about that. They're not going to know that. They're not going to grasp that. As frustrating as it is to say and to see, it's the truth, right?
Hmm.
But then you also have like Twilight showing up in Make Your Mark. Spoiler alert, I guess, but I don't think anyone doesn't know or doesn't care. Um, and also, funny enough, they stopped making G4 merchandise. And as a guy again that does studies marketing, that does marketing, it was a horrible decision because
Oh,
after
yeah.
around 10 years, 10, 11 years, it's proven that it's like it's an actual. I've read an article on it way back where it's where nostalgia kicks in for a lot of people, um, where they reminisce on things because now you have people that were consuming it when they were like in their early teens or like growing up. They're now adults or they're in like their 30s, which is still pretty 30s. That it's still like youngish and if you want to look at it that way, right? And now they're reflecting on it. They see G5, they're like, oh, I want to look at Pony. They watch it, they're like, that's okay, but it makes them just want to look at G4 again. And it's
Pretty
proven because
much.
G4 Pony in general has been trending on Twitter more. If you look at Twitter analytics and Twitter trends, it's actually been expanding in terms of just search terms and just interest. And if you look at FimFake, literally, if you scroll down the stats page and you look at new users registered, a massive spike around the time that G5 started. And so
Well,
they're trying to erase G4 from existence, essentially,
they
while
are. Yeah.
relying so heavily on G4 at the same time, because they are referencing it nonstop in the comics, which I can't stand. If you ever get Leech on this, he will probably rant for like 2 hours straight about how much he hates the new comic.
I'm in the same boat.
I think, yeah, who Discord, he's immortal, but holy shit, can you tell your own damn story? And it's like, okay, you're showing me the characters I grew up for like 10 plus years loving that you are now saying are all dead, which is already a turn off in a sense, right? Because I hate time skips. I'm a big anti time skip guy. I hate time skipping shows. The comics in themselves, in concept, I'm looking at chat on Twitch. Century's comment was saying he loves the comments. That's not wrong, but like from a storytelling perspective, it's frustrating.
Right.
But like so they reference it in the comics, they reference it in the show, but they're scared. They're alluding to it. They directly reference it, and then they act like they're terrified to reference it again. But like these references mean nothing because you're not building on that lore. You're not following that lore. You're not even making merchandise of the generation that you're referencing. Which kids are gonna be like, who the hell are these characters? Because not only are you referring to these old characters in the new generation, but you're taking the old generation off of Netflix, right? You took off seasons 5 through 8, you know, and you're taking it out of merchandise. You're pushing it out of your media reports. You're basically trying to expunge it from your like portfolio, but then you're also using it as the cover art of it, which makes no sense. And it's just I feel like G5 lacks so much direction. Like I have a little sister who has been watching Pony. You know, she was like, "Where's the rest of the seasons?" Because she was watching up to season 4, and they don't have it anymore. I'm like, "Well, I got to teach you how to use this thing called pirating, my friend."
Mhm.
And it's like, and she like, I watched G5 with her because she was curious, and she was like, it's not as fun." And I was like, "Yeah, and don't worry, their voices all change, because that's another blunder. I think that is
Oof.
the worst way they could have opened the franchise, is by casting celebrity voice actors, leaving it for like a year like that, giving everyone to imagine that there'd be their voices in their heads, get attached to those voices, associate those voices, and then recast every single person."
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that that would be an issue. I do have a question though,
Mm.
and sorry, it's something that just popped up. When you were talking about the appeal to G5, there was a rumor way back when G5, during the middle of season 9, 8 and 9, where they where rumors of G5 were popping up and how they said it was going to look. There was a rumor that came up, not just that it was going to be 3D, but that it was going to be like a hand painted style, like what they did for the Clone Wars. Do you think that would have gone over better than this Disney esque style that they ran with?
Probably. I think it really depends on like, because I mean, I don't really have any faith. I have like literally zero faith in Hasbro as a company. I think their
Mm,
incompetence goes beyond just media. I mean, if you look at their,
you
again,
got
I'm
that
sorry,
right.
I'm sorry if I keep bringing up business. It's just that's like my forte. But if you look at their like
Mm,
business reports and things like that, and especially the recent thing with their Bank of America, like the whole shtick they're going through hell right now. Their
mm.
stocks crashing. They're just a horribly, horribly incompetent company. So I still think they'd probably fuck up a lot. That's where I need a drink after talking about G5, so I'm okay with this. But like I don't want to make it seem like I hate G5, because I want to like it. I want to love it, right? I love the characters. I think they're very fun. I think they ruined Hitch, but like everyone else is okay. Like, and it's like, but like they don't know what they're doing, right? The pacing's very bad. You know, there's the animation is just not as charming. It's so limited. Yeah, you're rubbing it in my face that the characters I love are dead, which I'm not too fond of, personally speaking. You know, and it's like, when are you going to get a grasp on things and approach it the way you want? You know, like in a path. Like if you want to cater to kids, then cater to kids. You know, I don't care. I can stick to G4. But you're like in this weird like homeostasis between like, you know, G4 fans, the older people, and the younger fans that might be the new age of G5. It's like, commit to one or the other. Because my thought was, right, you know how they had the budget for a 2D show?
Hmm.
Mhm.
They could have, if they upped the budget by a substantial margin, which they had the money for, you do a 2D show of G4, which is episodic, right? It caters to all the older fans that will still shell out money, that will still be attached to that, right? That is still family friendly. That can be consumed by younger audiences, though, too, right? And then you do G5, which is the 3D concept, the 3D show, which caters to kids, both statistically and just because it's how you want to write it. And you sate both parties, and they can
Well,
still
I mean,
go in between.
you
Go ahead.
kind of touched on something that I had just mentioned was that even the Clone Wars had a 2D and 3D cartoon show separately, and I've
And it
run into
worked.
fans that like each one
Mhm.
differently.
And it worked. That was one of their best. That's what revived the Clone Wars franchise. Was the
Mm,
entire marketing approach they had. Because I'm not even a Star Wars guy, but even like I've never even watched a single Star Wars movie. But even I knew what was going on in the Clone Wars because people were showing me clips from both, and I had friends that would be like, "Look at these, look at this." I'm like, "Oh, see, like that's clever, that's smart." Because you're
hmm
'cause instead of the half dipping their foot into like one pool, that's what they're doing. They're dipping like a toe into one pool when they could just dive like both feet into one pool each, and then they can merge. You know, you can get both appeals to both parties. And guess what? No matter what they say, Rainbow Dash is a trademark, prints money. Straight up. If you look at like her sales reports on like that trademark alone, it makes as much as G5 in a year.
I believe
Like
that.
it's she because like her Twilight and Pinky print money. They print money. Those are three of the most recognizable characters, period. You know, like everyone I know knows who. That's another thing. Everyone I know knows who like Rainbow Dash is, right? They know who like the G4 characters are. Most of them do, right? Even people that I like, my friends that have no association with Pony, like, yeah, I know who Rainbow Dash is. And there's talk about it still outside of, general firsthand people inside the fandom. I have heard nobody talk about G5 outside of the fandom. Not a
Dang.
single person. It has no discussion. It has no gossip. It has no outside exposure. If you're not inside the fandom, you don't even know it exists probably. Because I have friends that were like detached from the fandom for a bit. They're like, "Oh wait, there's a new generation." I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's like they become a jack of all trades but a master of none, and they are very far from being a master of anything as well. Like, they're a jack of all trades, but they're shit at all trades.
Can we
Essentially.
can we just rename this cast Man Yells About Ponies?
Am I loud? I'm
No.
sorry.
No.
if I'm loud. Okay.
No, you're
But
not loud.
I'm just very analytical about things.
I think that's absolutely fair. That said, I do think we're running out of time a little bit to get to all the questions that people
Yes,
want
let's
to
keep
ask
going.
you.
Yes,
So I
let's keep
think
going.
we're going to mosey on along here.
Yeah. I'll try to speed run some of them.
We lost
Mid-roll?
is up. I guess it is time for mid roll. Okay. We'll make it super quick and not make it as fun as normal, just to try and get through all these questions. But everyone who has the ability to, just so you know, we are a non-profit endeavor. We're a non-profit podcast, but we do have a Patreon, and we do accept bits on Twitch. 100% of our profits and proceeds go to horse rescue charity, specifically Red Wings Horse Sanctuary in mid-California, where you guys voted on a horse named Little Bit, where we donate at least a lot of money every year. Milk, you know the exact number, but a couple of years
Implying I know the number.
couple of years ago, we were able to donate over 4 digits. Thank you, everyone, for your help. If you would like to support us and make us seem like a legitimate business, send us money that we automatically send directly to Horse Rescue Charity. And then
Little
if
Vic
that
gets our
doesn't,
horse feeds.
yes, if that doesn't feel comfy, please feel free to donate directly to them as well too. That's also awesome. Just save the horses.
Wait, we were giving money to horses? I thought we were giving money for a horse sanctuary.
Number one, we're going to We Lost now. What made you like Timber Corruption?
Him and Wiz. He knows the answer to that one. It was him and Wiz.
Hell yeah. Up next, RK Striker JK5. Number one, what's your favorite non-MLP franchise?
Ooh, like media or just in general? What do you think?
In general, I think.
I guess Banjo-Kazooie. No, actually, if I'm talking about like media franchise and just franchise in general, I think Smash Bros. Like that. I love their media they do. I love the game. I love the community. I love everything around that.
Smash Bros. So good. Have you done any fan-related content for a non-MLP franchise?
No, I have not.
All right. Bendy is up next, who, of course, is of a one-track mind. How heavy do you think Princess Celestia is?
Like how fat her ass is? Like what kind of heavy?
It's 100% how fat that ass is.
Fucking yes,
Yes.
It's you got a fat ass. There you go. But like it's good.
I remember like the earlier seasons, her ass looked bony, and then as the seasons progressed, because she was sitting on her fat ass, letting Twilight, just do all the work, started getting plumper.
That matters. That's the character development that matters.
And she was eating like huge ass pancake stacks for breakfast every morning.
People always say that she eats bad. I hate to bring her up again. Rainbow, if you watch clips, she eats like garbage, bro. She eats so bad. She eats terribly. And I always tell Lost, I'm like, if you're going to draw Rainbow, she got a fat ass because all that shit that she eats goes to her ass. And she's tongue everywhere else when she works out.
She also exercises a lot, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, she works the rest of her body, but she ain't working her ass. She ain't doing squats.
If she maintained her mass and her speed, she'd essentially be a cannonball, and anyone she hits accidentally, which is gonna happen eventually, is gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
You've run into other ponies before.
Yeah, but if she maintained her mass after eating terribly,
she's gonna get a warrant for arrest sooner or later.
I mean, she ran headlong into Twilight at least once, so
I mean, look. She just eats so bad. She eats so fast, so bad.
She flew so fast, she accidentally ate a child.
No, okay, the cheese sandwich episode. In season 4, she eats through a giant pizza in one line that has cupcakes topping it, without an ounce of hesitation.
I forgot about that. Yeah, she did.
Yeah. When she eats the pancakes in Castle Sweet Castle, she just dives through the middle. She orders like 2 plates of nachos in the Granny episode, which is when the Granny's gone wild. She eats like shit, and I'm like, it just goes to her ass.
Didn't her and Applejack like eat a whole fucking. They were at a diner when they were getting interviewed, and they just like it was just full of fucking empty plates.
Yeah,
And
they eat like shit. So she got a fat ass. That's right. All right, let's go on. Anyways,
All right, up next, Doom Gooey. Number 1, what is your favorite canon pony to write? If it's one of the main 6, what's your favorite background pony to write?
so this may I think this answer might be actually surprising. So the one that's obvious is if it's a main 6, it's Rainbow Dash. But if it's a background character, although she is incredibly hard to write, I absolutely love Zakora.
Yes.
I
I
love
love her.
Zakora. She's just incredibly hard to write, which is why I haven't done it yet. But I think she's an underused character, and I think she's an absolute blast.
Hell yeah. Number 2, what is your favorite genre, subject, or topic to write?
Really quick, you might want to scroll down stream because it's not on the question that we're on right now.
Milk. Milk, wake up. What the fuck are you doing?
Let's go.
That's
Let's
actually
go.
fair. Okay.
Let's go.
That's not the
Come
weirdest
on.
thing you've done on cast
Come
before.
on. Clap it
Ebony,
up.
Ebony, can I get a bruh?
Yeah, I got you.
Bruh.
There you go. I got you. Ooh, I like this question. The second one.
What is your favorite genre, subject, topic to write?
Okay, so my search criteria whenever I read fics on FimFic is adventure, main 6, minimum words 50,000. I
Damn.
love adventure stories. I read too fast, so I go through like a 200k word fic in a day. But I love adventure stories. They're my favorite kind to read. I love when there's actual stakes. You know, that the characters in the face. There's a genuine threat. You know, it is my absolute favorite thing to read. That's what I'm writing. The million word fic I'm probably gonna have is that it's an adventure story. It's probably not gonna be a million words. It's probably gonna be like 600,000, but still.
You know, if it is a million, just like delete one word to make it 9,000.
That would be pretty funny.
Number 3, at what point in your life did you decide that writing lewd words about horses was something you wanted to do?
Depression era. I was like, this is the time to do it, and then I
That's
kept
fair.
going.
Sometimes you just need to get them endorphs and get a little.
It was
It's
it was
not
You
about
feel something.
honestly, it's just like I wanted to be creative because I wasn't editing as much, and I was like, I can try writing, and I was like, I might as well write for my friends because I'm very big on giving gifts to my friends, and I was like, I can write stories as a gift for like my pony friends, and I started doing it, and I enjoyed it. So
Sometimes you just think about Rainbow Dash's fat ass and you get horny and you just gotta write it all down.
yeah, I'm like, listen, if I put Rainbow Dash has sex, we lost dies, so it works.
it's
It's
not
mixed up.
about your jerking off. It's about you helping the homies
It's
jerk
about
off.
others jerk off. Exactly. That's like when I die, I want to be like my legacy. Be like I made so many people come gallons, dude. It'll be just such a good way to go out. You know.
Could you imagine if you know how like video games have statistics? If real life had statistics and it said people you caused to jerk off.
Dude, I want a horny combat record and see like how many
Yeah.
like
I know for
imagine what I've
sure.
made bust to like my like how many I made bust to my own bust ratio. That's my
Yeah.
KDR.
I know for sure I have a kill count.
That'd be fun actually. I want to see.
All right,
Okay.
number 4. How often does a picture inspire a story, if ever?
Almost all my fics are directly inspired by a picture or have a direct picture associated with it. That okay, so it's like 50-50. Either I write for an artist friend or they make art for my story. Because all my fics are collabs with artists. So I would say it's about 50-50.
Hell yeah. And then number 5 was Gen 4 your introduction to porny. My God.
You got something on your mind right now.
Hey, you're a good writer. What can I say? Number
Oh,
was Gen 4 your introduction to pony? And if it was, do you have any desire to delve into past gens or looking forward to future gems? We the only aspect of this that we haven't really covered is the past gens. Yeah.
And the only interest I would have is like Minty, maybe.
Yeah.
But beyond that, not really. I can always just ask Leech, like, give me a summary of this thing's existence, because that dude's the guru of horses. So.
Yeah. All right, Slime Wiz is up next.
Ah,
Number
wait.
1, could you please degrade me, Daddy?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Wiz.
Number 2, do you think things like mind control or corruption are as extreme as non-consensual cuddles.
No.
Ah,
I
I
think
agree with that.
it's. I mean, when I write non-con as a concept,
Yes.
I focus on pleasure and the actual end up of like enjoying it because I don't like the concept. Obviously, like in fiction, it's still even in fiction, it's a gray line. And it's like you got to write it right. You got to make sure it's not too bad. And I think mind control and corruption can help pull away from that and
Hmm.
make it less extreme. That's why I like writing because it's like not as like as that word is just not a friendly word. So it's like you want to try to detach from it as much as you can when you write non-con, if you do.
Hmm.
So that's how. So I think I don't think it's as extreme at all. I think it helps pull it away.
I agree with that. I mean, it's such a delicate that other topic is such a delicate thing to write with.
Mhm. Exactly.
And I mean, I literally have 100,000 word story that toys with the idea of non-con for like
Yeah, I
all of
mean,
it, and
my goal.
it's so tough to do it with grace. Or if
Yeah.
you're trying to pull it as a comedy, you still have to be really careful. Like,
So my method is if it starts as non-con, can I make it by the end look like dubcon?
yes,
Or
dubcon is a completely different.
that's the goal. That's how I like to
Yeah,
write. I'm
yeah.
like, if it starts non-con-esque, can I shift it to dubcon or make it seem like it's con with like mind control or something like that? Which is still explicitly non-con, but it doesn't feel like non-con because of the way they act and talk, which makes it seem much more comfortable as well. Because I like non-con where it focuses on like suffering and discomfort. I can't stand. That is not my cup of tea. No, thank you. Personally, if you fuck with it, go for it. But for me, no.
Number 3, what pushed you into finally making an OC, and how much of an impact does it have in your life?
Um, I discussed it with We Lost and Simon himself. I thought it would just be fun to have an identity of sorts.
Mhm.
So we made Fenris. We discussed like the concept of him for like a couple days. Went through color schemes and we made him. And as for how he's affected my life, pretty good. It's like he's like a serotonin dose for me. Him and We Lost OC Kara. Even Wiz's OC. I just like OCs. Like Wiz's OC Bezu is really fun. Also, a very big hole in my wallet. I think in less than a year, I've spent at least 10 grand on stuff of him. So it's definitely been a bit of a sap to the funds, but it's fun. It's a good amount of serotonin, so it's worth it in my opinion. So for the better, for sure.
Nice. What would you say to someone who's considering making an OC, but they're not sure?
Don't knock it till you try it. Like if there's no harm in making an OC. If you're scared of being called cringe because your OC isn't a good design or something like that, who gives a shit? Like as long as you're happy, that's what matters. Like fuck
Design
what.
on an OC is incredibly subjective.
What
Yeah,
if
like
my
like
what if my
what?
OC's red and black alicorn who's married to all of the main 6?
And you know what? Good for him, and good for as long as it makes you happy. That's like I always hate the concept of like shitting on people's OCs, because like let them rock, dude. Like there's no harm if they have an OC they like and that makes them happy. Let them have it, bro. Like there's like they're not hurting anybody. Like there's no harm, even if it looks bad. Like you can say bite your tongue. Like you can say it in private to someone. Don't say it to them. Let them be happy. Let them enjoy it. That's the thing, right? This is a fandom that's based on a show about friendship and acceptance. So do it. That's how I see it at least. So there's no harm in making an OC in my eyes.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. All right, number 4. How much longer do you think we'll have to wait until technology makes it possible to create evil big titty goth mommy poner sluts?
I absolutely, I fucking love Wiz. I'm going. That's another. This is my third beer. Hang on.
My friend, let me introduce you to the wonders of VR.
um, you know what? Maybe in like the next 20 years, where we could have like full on immersive trips or something. Maybe, but for now, it is a long. Learn how to lucid dream, brother. That's all I can tell you. Oh my goodness, number 5. I'm looking at this question.
Number 5. Sex then mind control, or mind control then sex?
The latter, the mind control, then sex.
I think that's fair. Shadow King 58 is up next. When did you start writing? How'd you get into it? What is your biggest inspiration writers that you looked up to?
I think
Is
I've
there
answered
any
all
of
of
that we
those.
did not cover?
Yeah, I think I covered most of those. But just to recap really quick, I started writing about last September. I got into it through Dust Chew, and my biggest inspiration was Some Age.
All right. Synchrony is up next. I'm loving all of the fresh like blood in this thread. This is awesome. I hope you guys continue to come back. This is awesome. Really, really welcoming for the guest.
Okay, Mr.
What did-
Vampire.
Shut the fuck up. Number one, what did you have to do to get so much We Lost art?
So, how do I answer this?
Be their friend.
Yeah, me and him are really close. Like we're very close friends. I've known him for we've talked every single day since August of 2021 around. So like every day we've talked. So him and I are just extremely close. He came to my house and stayed here for 3 months this summer. So like we're
Nice.
we're very close pals.
They were roommates.
Third roommates?
They're roommates.
Number two, will we see more Fenboy Fenris in the future?
Probably. It seems that people like him like that, so probably.
All right. Number three, aside from timber corruption, what are your top kinks and perhaps interesting ones you'd like to add to your stories?
So like my stories are usually like always kinky. Like they have like mind control or corruption or like mind break or something like that because
Yeah.
my friends like that and they enjoy. So like unironically, something like probably like do some more vanilla. Probably because I want to write more pony on pony as well because I've done a lot of anon. I want to do more pony on pony and just kind of more vanilla because that's like vanilla for me is something that I don't do often. Um, in terms of interesting ones, nothing nothing that I haven't done yet, at least so far. I have a very clear concept of what I write well in quotations of the well, but something I haven't done enough of is I think vanilla.
I think that could be a really fun writing prompt. I'm gonna pop this in your head, and you're welcome to keep it. Otherwise, I don't fucking write anymore.
What's up?
But I think it'd be really fun to have like a main character in a sex story that's only ever had like super kinky sex, and, like only's been on that and has never had like vanilla before.
So like right like so like it's
And
like writing
so like
I already had
yeah,
an idea. It's like, do you know, it's like writing Leech. Leech is OC Leech and like
yeah.
being super sweet and like not overly kinky, but like a main character. Yeah, that'd be fun. It's like I could definitely see that being a thing. That sounds like actually a fun prompt. Like a main character. I'm trying to think who would be super kinky. Probably like Starlight or Trixie.
Just be like, so when do I
Or
drip?
Chrysalis.
When
Like
do I
super
drip blood into your mouth? No, that's not how that works at all.
No, we have vanilla missionary sex. We kiss and call each other love and babe, and then we cuddle after and we play Mario Kart.
Holy fuck. You got me excited.
Yes, I know,
All
it's
right.
absolutely insane lewdness.
Number four. Any MLP characters you think didn't get enough fan content?
Zagora.
True. Absolute true. Number five. Favorite G5 horse?
It's a hard one. That's actually a really fucking hard one. Because like I don't like love any of them, but I do like them. It's like a it's hard. It's a hard one.
What's the name of the tomboy one? The tomboy
Zip.
Pegasus.
Yep.
Zip
It's
is
because the
good.
thing is, it's between Misty and Zip for me.
Yeah. Zip
And
is
like
fun.
Sunny is right behind them. If like Sunny doesn't have a personality, but it's okay because she looks hot, so it works out. But like,
How do
but
you
like,
think? Ugh.
How would you describe your Tinder date? Well,
she's like, dude, Sunny's personality is saying the word magic and furthering the plot. But yeah, I would say that.
all right, number six. How does it feel to get such good feedback after posting your first story?
That was kind of like surprising to me when I got that. I was like, because I thought I was like, this is kind of shit. It's my first story. I posted it. It got number one featured. It had a ton of comments, a lot of support, and I was like, wow, that was crazy because I got a lot of comments and I was not expecting that. And since then, like the support's been crazy. Every fic I've posted has been number one, like for at least about like at least half a day, and I get a ton of comments, and it's like, huh, like this is really like it makes me want to do it more. 'Cause it's like people are enjoying this, you know, and I know like when I start dwelling into some safer work stuff, that probably won't do as well. But it's super cool to have like such like nicely received stories because I write topics that are kind of like gray area. like Mind Control, Non-Con. I did Zebra Dom once. Like people that don't even like that stuff usually, they're like, no, this was still pretty good. I was like, well, that's nice because I think I do something that most people don't anymore, which I pace a lot in my stories. There's a lot of build up. There's a lot of story to it. If you look at the average word count of my fics, they're like, it's not surprising if I put out like an 18,000 word fic and then the next thing is a 32,000 word fic. I opened with a 68,000 word story, but yeah, and then if in your chat right now, Leech indeed was the one that pushed me and bullied me to actually post my stories the most. Him and Lost and Wiz. So after getting pushed into doing it and encouraged to do it, and I did do it. It was really cool to see. Like I'm not gonna lie, I sat there like refreshing every like couple hours to see like notifications, and I see like 7 or like 20 or like 30, and I'm like, and I see like 3 new comments, 4 new comments. They add me to like their weirdly named favorites folder, and it's a nice feeling. It's really cool, and it's really sweet. I think Femfic is for the most part very accepting and very loving. There are some rotten apples, obviously, but a very very nice feeling for the first one to do
Yeah,
well.
that Barcast is fucking terrible.
I know I've been having a horrible time here, but that's okay.
Good.
No.
Number 7. What does a Timberwolf shit look like?
The Timberwolf stuff. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like different eyes, kind of. There's like claw, like wooden claws in place of like the hooves. You can have like if it's a Pegasus, they can have like a wooden lining on their end of the the wing. It's really up to it's however you want to interpret it, because like the way that we discuss the timber stuff, um, was like it's just whatever the character's traits are, whatever they are like, it usually reflects how they look.
Mm-hmm.
So like Izzy like, has crystals on her because she always talks about crystals and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
And I think or like Rainbow Dash has like clouds if she had one, because it just it's very fun to design, because when I've talked to like Cold Blooded Twilight, Wiz, Lost, Arrow, the fun part is making it very unique in how you want to design the character depending on their traits, their personality, their design. You can infer it in a lot of ways. But yeah, I do that.
All right. We're gonna do Fallout Pwn. Sorry for running through these somewhat fast. Man, you're a popular fella. Number 1. Now that you've started an ongoing corruption series with, this is Fallout Pwn, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Ongoing corruption series with uncommon practices, and will hopefully start one with Prismatic Pest. How do you plan to avoid the burnout issue common with these kind of stories?
So I don't have a plan. You just gotta hope I don't. You just gotta hope I don't, brother. That's all I gotta say. I have a concept of how I want to do things, but I don't have a plan. I never have a plan. Um, I am very spontaneous in anything I do. I literally picked lightning dust because I was like, this could work in this segue. I'm gonna do her, and then I'm doing sunset because I want to believe we lost in the drawing sunset, and so because he does the cover art for that series with the headshots, he's gonna draw sunset. Like I mean, I know like the next characters I'm doing, like in the Uncommon Practices series, it's Sunset next, then it's Mrs. Cake, then Pinky. So I'm gonna get to the first main 6 finally, and then from there on, I have a rough idea of who, because I know the next main 6 after Ponk is gonna be a Rarity, but then I have obviously side characters in between. Because what I like doing is a lot of characters who don't get written often, I like to write, so they have like people that like the 2 people in the world that have the fix for that character get that fix.
Mm-hmm.
Like my buddy Beardy loves Saffron Malsada, the one that owned like the Indian restaurant in
Oh,
Canterlot.
yeah.
So I'm writing something with her eventually, just to fix his hunger for her, because I was like, I like doing that. I like doing side characters that don't get enough love. It's really fun. That's why, and the thing is that it's a strategy of mine, because like people are always gonna be there for the main 6,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. But if I build up with side characters, they will read these side characters and probably get more attached to these side characters, because that makes it pay off when they get to the actual main 6 character all the better.
Yeah.
So it's a strategy. It's like this will probably make people want to read the story more, because obviously if I do like a very random side character, it's not going to do as well. Which I don't care about numbers, but like it's nice to see a fic do well, obviously, for any author. Um, but I think I like not fixating on the main 6. I think everyone does that. So I think if you build up to the main 6, it makes it more interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get tired of having sandwiches all the time. You're ready to have some chicken korma.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2. How did you get so good at writing descriptions and writing in general? Do you have any tips, recommendations for someone starting out in the medium?
So I like to be very in depth with sensory feelings. So like sight, smell, taste, feelings, like everything like that. One, because it really immerses a reader into the story. Like you can kind of put yourself in their shoes in a sense. Like you can experience what their experience. Because I try to be. Also, I apologize if I talk fast. It's just my Italian self and mixed
You're
with Colombian.
absolutely fine.
But I like to have it be as descriptive as possible because I think that makes it all the more immersive, and I think it lets people get more involved into it, and also it helps keep the writing from getting stagnant. Because like you can write mind control in an X amount of ways, or you can write like a sex scene in an X amount of ways, but you can always change the little details like how they taste, or like because I like to write like my head all ponies smell nice and they taste nice, but they all have unique flavors and this little details to them. Because you want to fantasize it, you want to pick at the optimal fantasy, which is like it smells great, like if you eat them out, it tastes good, things like that. You want to make it an optimal scenario. This is fantasy, this is fiction, so you want to make it as good as possible for the person that's consuming it. So it's just all about sensory. That's the thing. I think that's a big thing, at least in NSFW writing. In terms of just writing in general, I think good pacing is just crucial. I love pacing. I'm a little pacing slut, I guess you want to call me that, but I love pacing, and I think if anyone's starting out, you should definitely read people first, like read a lot first. I didn't, but that's because I mean I didn't. I read a bit over time, but I only read like adventure stories until I like started reading Leech's stuff. But it's always good to read beforehand and have proofreaders. Just send it to your friend, be like, hey, read this shit I wrote. Tell me if it's dog shit or not, and let me know how I can make it better. That's what I've done,
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah. Sometimes your friends will crush you and be like, "Stop writing, stop." But I mean, otherwise, most of the time it's fine.
Yeah.
Number 3. This is going to get interesting. We're going to learn a little bit about you. How accurate are the kinks you write about with regard to your personal preferences? Has there been things that you've written about that you personally were or weren't into?
Okay.
Obviously, this is all your discretion.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. So yeah, no, I like those kinks. I'm into them. I've played them out in like real life sex as well. And scenarios like that. I'm not. I'm not. I've never like. I'm not against role playing in the bedroom. I've done it. I thankfully have a budget, so I even had costumes at some points too, like outfits, like a police outfit or something like that, things like that.
Fuck yeah.
It's fun. It makes sex flavorful, like and it makes it more fun. It's fun to role play. Funnily enough, a lot of people think that like I'm a hard like dom person because I write mind control. I like to see myself in either or position because I think it's fun. I think it's a
Switch.
fun dynamic. Yeah, I'm a hard switch,
Yes.
and yeah, it's reflective of my own preferences. Yeah,
No
but
stop here.
but only in like again only in like a role play sense, like
Right.
not in like actual like applying them. No, but like in a role play sense, yes.
Yeah. All right. Number 4. Imagine if you were in charge of Friendship and Magic while it was on the air. What would you have changed with regards to the show and why?
The school would have never existed. That is where the show takes a giant downhill spiral, in my opinion. If I did, I also would have made Grogar actually Grogar
They
because
they had such a good like MacGuffin and plot direction set up with the map. I got so frustrated when we just
that's what I was
ditched the
gonna.
map.
Yeah, the map should have been used more. You could have used it for a lot. You could have gone back to Kluga Town. You could have gone beyond Equestria all the time. You could have had really cool crossover characters that you never seen. There's a lot of potential. You could have expanded on a lot of details and a lot of concepts, but I mean, that would make it more of an episodic adventure story-esque thing, and I know that's not what they wanted to go for, so
Sure, okay.
I would also completely just rewrite the ending. I despise the ending of the series with a burning
Whoa,
passion.
that's a hot opinion.
Yeah, I absolutely hate the finale.
Huh.
I hate time
What?
skips.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I hate
That's
time
fair.
skips, and Fluttershy looks like she's on her deathbed. So,
Ha! Get wrecked.
so this is gonna be you want another hot take?
Yeah, give me a hot take. Let's go.
I fucking hate Apple Dash as a ship, and I don't like that it's implied.
That's fair.
I am a Twidash guy. I do not like Apple Dash. I don't think they have any chemistry. So whenever I see that, I'm like, it's implied, it's implied, it's implied. The writer said it was implied.
There was quite a
You
few
can
implied
hear-
ships. Like
They
They
put
can hear
the
the
hoof on his shoulder is somehow implied relationship status, right?
I don't know, the way I see it as they were both lesbians and they both made a pact saying, "Hey, if we're both single by the time we're 30, we have to."
I see all the main cast as bi. That's how I always see it because I mean I'm bi, so I'm like it's based to be that way.
I think that's fair.
There's a comment in chat that says they can hear the fedora collection through my voice, and I'm assuming that's an insult, and I'm a little sad now. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm fucking with you. I don't mind. That's actually a pretty good comment.
Number
Let's
5.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and rewrite any one of your previous stories, would you? And if so, which story and why?
Sorry, I just took a hit.
Sorry, please go.
I wouldn't rewrite anything really, because I would just take up time. Well, actually, I'm rewriting my somber story, but I haven't published that, so I guess I'm rewriting that one. But otherwise, no.
Sweet. And then they say, thank you for your awesome stories, EbonyGlow. It's a great time seeing them and the sexy We Lost art with them in my feed. Can't wait for the next one.
Unless it's a pretty good artist.
Enigma, would you like to take Alex _ real quick?
I think we can get through all these questions if we go quick.
Sure, yeah. There he is. Number 1 from Alex _ Have you ever seen a ghost?
So not inherently. There is a road in my state called Clinton Road. It's like the most haunted road in America. And we went there, and there was some like weird shit that happened to our car. But beyond that, no. So I've been to haunted locations and spooky things have happened, but no, I've never seen a ghost.
Are you telling me a ghost never, did stuff to you and you woke up with ectoplasm in your pants?
Nah, you see, the thing is, when I was in the backseat of the car going down the haunted road, I had my legs spread. I was like, I literally said to my friend driving, I was like, I hope a ghost bitch fucks me, bro. Be so based. And I was sitting there, I was like, come on, fuck me. Either way. And I was like, they never happened, so I was sad. I absolutely would fuck a ghost. That shit sounds lit.
Like when you get an erection but you're not horny, that's the work of a ghost.
The phantom boner.
Number 2. What's your favorite Christmas song?
That's actually a hard one. There's a mashup of Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas and My Chemical Romance that I love. That's super, super fun. It's a Black Parade. It's super good. But if it's the Pony song, Pinky's Present is my absolute favorite Christmas song from the show. I'm a swing guy. I love swing.
Number 3. What's your ideal breakfast?
I never even have time for breakfast. But I'd say like a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. It's pretty base. It's always good.
Oh, that's based.
It's always good.
Food is great breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Lost. Yes. Cereal is what I usually eat. Like when we lost was at my house, he'd make this really fancy like yogurt like oat mix thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm having some fucking Cocoa Pebbles, brother. And I call it a day. That's another drink.
Are you telling us you don't wake up in the morning with a nice bowl of honey nut nuts?
I wish. I almost said the funny drink word, but I wish.
All right. Now then, we're going to breathtaking carnality. I mean muggany. I mean breathtaking carnality. I mean mom. I mean, number 1. Quick, come up with the cringiest ship specific to the MLP universe at the top of your head. You can use OCs. The cringier, the better.
Oh my god, there's a lot of questions. I like how you skipped over Rav.
We'll get to him at the end. There's just a million fucking questions.
Come up with the
Only
cringiest
14.
ship specific to the MLP universe at the top of your head. You can use OCs. The cringier, the better. Black Death, the Fire Alicorn, fucking Luna and Celestia nonstop for the next 48 years. There you go.
I like it. Number 2, what are the backstories of these characters?
God, I hate you. So you know that one Pimations animation. It's that guy who turned himself into the Alicorn OC. That's him, and he's just having sex with everyone.
That's it. That's all the backstory that's necessary.
Now come up with this is a good question.
Number 3, now come up with a story premise where sauciness ensues. Premise in reference to plot.
Poison joke. Dick always hard. Celestia only knows how to make it go away.
Okay. Now, what saucy shenanigans do they get up to? Remember, the cringier or the better?
The sex and then sex, but with cum on them.
Oh, okay. The second time is better because it's dirty cum sex.
Exactly.
Dirty
and then
little
mind
cum
control
boy.
for Wiz. You throw mind control in for Wiz.
Number 5, do you think it is within your abilities to make this into some hot stuff?
We're
not saying anything about desire. It's just ability.
Probably.
Boom. Number 6, how your day?
Interesting.
All right, Burgess is up next. Enigma, would you like to take that? And then Rav, it's your show. You get to finish with your questions.
Oh, cool.
Verghese. Oh, that all the way at the bottom. What the?
I think I got the questions.
That's weird. Okay. Hello. Do you listen to music and creating? If so, what kind?
Usually not. I usually just sit there. I usually write on my phone, surprisingly enough, but I did buy a MacBook for writing, so I've been just kind of sitting on my MacBook writing it here and there, or I use my PC. But I usually don't listen to music.
Are you telling us you don't write, the steamiest clop while listening to Recess Puffs?
Yeah, no, actually, I listen to what do I listen to? I listen to the ooh ee ooh ah ting tang wah wah bing bang whenever I'm fucking, and I time it with the music.
Number 2. If you could sit down to dinner with any character, who would you choose?
Crazy response coming up really quick, dude. You wouldn't see this, but Rainbow Dash. Whoa, who would have guessed?
I imagine that would be a horrible date because
Oh
she
yeah, it
would
would be
just,
horrible, but that's like the best part about it.
yeah, we'd already established that she eats terrible, and you sit down to get dinner, and she starts
Take her to,
ordering everything off the expensive menu,
I'd take her to like fucking McDonald's and she'd be happy because she eats like shit. Yeah, I just sip my drink.
and then she slides you the bill.
Oh yeah, it's okay. You know what? You treat him out. Take him. No, she's a Wonderbolt. No, fuck her. She's paying.
Right?
I'm just imagining you and her sitting across that McDonald's counter, just sliding the bill back and forth between each other.
I bet you got the
No,
$20.
see,
You
here-
got the $20 McNuggies. That's not me. I got the Whopper
If
meal.
I
That was
could-
$3.
You were saying, Rav, before we cut you off?
So sorry.
Rav?
Oh no. Here. I tagged you. Don't mind the text in the image, but this is what I imagine she's doing to the fucking menu, ordering everything.
And then the poor McDonald's waitress right there expecting her tip. Yes, this weird McDonald's has, a waitress that we're talking about. Number 3, cake or pie?
Cake. I don't like pie. Not a pie guy. Unless it's pudding pie, then that's pretty good. Otherwise, no.
We can't be friends.
I'll
My-
imagine this-
Hang on. We can't be friends. Y'all give you a little in response to that.
What?
Give you a little boo womp.
Thank you.
So you prefer Mrs. Cake over the
That was the Hell's Kitchen violin sound by accident. I meant to do. There we go. Okay. What were you saying?
So you prefer Mrs. Cake over the pies?
Oh no, dude, no, they're both hot as fuck. So I'll take them all, bro. That's all right. That pie's based. That's that's I'm writing limestone pie like right now, so like pie is good too in that sense.
Number 4, if you were dropped into Equestria, would you rather change to fit in or remain as you are?
I think if I remained as I was, I would die in the first 40 seconds. So I'm gonna say probably change to fit in.
But what do you become? Your choice, or is it like just randomized?
Whatever gets me laid by Rainbow Dash, then that's fine.
You get turned into a worm, and she'll love you as a worm.
Let's fucking go! Okay, dude, that's fucking awesome. It'd be the best worm ever.
Be unbirthing.
The sounding.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
If you could, ooh.
Number 5. If you could invert a character as was kind of done with the mains, what the fuck is this?
If you could make
If
them make an
you-
opera himself, is what he's implying.
If you could invert a character as was kind of done with the mean 6, who would be your choice?
Zakora. I think she could have been a really good villain.
Oh, I love Zakora. She doesn't get
Like,
enough.
like a witch doctor shaman that uses like potions and shit. That would have been sick. And she like has a grasp on the entire Everfree. Like she would have been really cool as like an inverted version of herself. And she would have rhymed, so I could write her more.
I'm curious because we both love Zakora. If you were to give Zakora a love interest, a canon character, who would it be?
I like her a lot with Big Mac. The guy that doesn't talk and the chick that rhymes. It's like a writer's nightmare.
Rav, now to your questions.
No, actually, Empty Plot Filler has questions.
I thought I was doing Bergese, and then you were doing yours.
Yep,
Yeah,
there's a
but
new set of posts.
Oh
Yep.
my.
Oh, I refreshed. I see it. Who's doing it?
Well, I'm man my word, Rav. Go ahead.
Man, my word, Brad. Good. Yeah, fine. I won't go last. Fine. Don't treat me special. Fine. All right. What's a question you wish people would ask you?
That's a very psychological one. Hmm.
People always ask me howdy, but they never say how are ye.
I guess I mean I get asked everything I want to be asked, but I'm always open to being asked about like my OC more. But like I get asked that plenty. So I don't know. I don't really know if I have a question that I would wish people would ask me because I think I have all the questions I would want.
I mean, that's fair. If you were the pro tag of a displaced fic, what would it be about, and who would you be unlucky enough to be?
Displaced as in, can you just explain that like I'm 5?
Displaced as in you went to Comic Con as Superman and are now in Horse World as Superman.
Okay. Who would you be unlucky enough to be? Walter White trying to sell meth to a equine, colorful pastel horse would seem like an interesting.
You could sell it to them and just tell them it's salt. They like
Yeah,
saltness.
and then
Oh,
when they
God.
see their horse friend quivering on the floor, bashing their head against the wall, I'll be like, it's fucking good salt.
Great salt, the best salt.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's clear salt, super clear salt. And
You put it up your nose. You breathe deep.
Thought
it's
that salt was
seasoning.
supposed to be blue.
It's seasoning for the soul.
It's no, you could sell it to Tree Hugger as like, yeah, it's a soul cleanse.
Oh,
And then the soul will be cleansed. It will no longer be there.
fuck.
If you
All right. If you or your significant other could be any size at all, such as a Lady Demi Dami Mommy or a Deathclaw Kaiju, what would your dynamic look like?
So knowing how my boyfriend is and how he always makes fun of me for being like 2 inches smaller than him, he would probably be the tall, big dummy, and then I would be the little. Oh God, I'm going to get annihilated. Except, or vice versa, because he likes size diff. So I'd say that.
So one of you is going to be a goblin. Got it.
Wow, you actually nailed the fucking thing he likes. That's another drink.
Jesus Christ.
Well, so he cosplays as a Goblin Slayer, huh?
You'll see some of them in his art eventually.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right. Have you ever released a foot fetish video, and where can your fans find it?
I'm not gonna expect this response. I manage models, and some of them make fetish videos before. And one
Oh.
time when I had to, this guy was in DMs asking for a foot video. The girl was busy, so I was like, I could fucking do it. So then I recorded a foot video and sent it to him, and he paid like $60 for it, and he never knew, and it was very funny.
Damn.
So surprisingly, I do have one, but no, you are never getting it.
Oh God, that's the first. That's the first anybody's ever answered that question. Yes,
That is the first. That's the first person to say yes. They have one.
I
Yeah.
would have never imagined anybody would have
Yeah,
said yes to that.
Yeah, I manage like OnlyFans models and stuff, so I've dealt with a fair share of like weird videos.
Oh Jesus! All right. Well, speaking of weird, do you read or write snuffles, i.e., what I call snuff for cute ponies?
As in like murder?
Yes, as in gore clop, as in
Can't
yeah.
can't say I have. I mean, I've read it like because it came up before, like
Mm.
out of morbid curiosity. But no, usually not.
Okay. Onto a nicer topic. Favorite MILF,
That's a fucking hard one. That's
right?
a hard one. Does Mary count as a MILF?
In some
I
headcanons,
Yes.
I'd say then her.
mm,
I'm a big Mary simp. But if I had to pick an actual MILF, Oh, it's like actually the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life.
The choices. There's Cadence, Mrs. Cake.
Why would you
all the
start
main,
with Cadence?
all
Ugh.
the main 6 moms. Honestly, Stellar Flare. Stellar Flare, Stellar Flare, Stellar Flare.
Not a bad
Stellar
choice.
She had me hook, line, and sinker
got
when she made
Yeah, just because
that
she could
face.
call me like an incompetent fuck while she fucks me, that's based.
Oh, I have some art for you. All right.
Like after you have sex with her, she sets up all your doctor's appointments and stuff that you were too afraid to do for yourself.
Yeah, someone said Miss Cheerly in the chat, and that's if she considered Miss Cheerly as a MILF, then she's number 2 for me. I love Cheerly.
I've never read a story that's actually turned me on to the character.
She's hard to write because there's not much to work with.
Right. Okay. I don't remember whether or not we've answered this particular question before, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask it anyways. Favorite princess from MLP?
I'm gonna sound so basic, but yeah, Luna.
I mean,
Like-
it's not basic; it's a good choice.
Yeah, I mean it's what everyone says, but like I mean I like Twilight more, but like when it comes to being a princess, I like her vibe more.
Favorite object pony, if you know what those are.
I like I think Soda Pone's cute.
I got an animation somewhere of her just kind of trotting in place and then burping. It's fucking adorable. All right. Since bats are the superior pony, how many bats does it take to screw a princess?
Well, that's totally not a biased starting point in that question. To screw a princess, 1 if you're good, 10 if you're feeling fun.
Best answer I've gotten for it so far. Why is Spike the worst and everyone that likes him wrong?
So, I actually have a take on this. I think Spike, when he's written well, is one of the best characters in the show. I think when he's written well, he is really fucking good. But I think he's unbearable 95% of the time, and so I can agree. But like there are certain scenes where he's actually a very competent side character and a very good supporting character. One of my favorite scenes with him in it is in the movie after Twilight yells at Pinkie Pie, where her friends go one way and she goes the other, and you see him stop and hesitate on which way to go. He looks at her friends and looks at her, and he goes back and forth before eventually trying to consult Twilight. And I think he was written really well there, and I think he had a reason to doubt and had reason for uncertainty, and then he had really good dialogue to talk to her there. But most of the time, he's a little fuck. I want to punt like a football, but sometimes he's good. Dude, I have to get another beer. I want to be so. I want to be so crossed. All right.
Oh shit!
All right, I got it. All right, let's go. I'm gonna be crossfaded as hell. All right.
You got your other beer ready?
Yeah.
Alrighty. If you could start an interstellar war between any 2 factions from any universe or universes, who would they be and why?
Ooh, that's actually really fucking good. Oh wow, that's a good one. Damn you, Rav.
You're
I
welcome.
don't really indulge in too many different universes, but fuck. I need alcohol for this one, so that's a good thing I said that. Damn. I don't know. I was thinking like Star Wars and like Harry Potter, but I've never consumed media of either. But it sounds like I like magic and versus science. I think it's always cool. I would say I guess that because that it would be a cool thing to see because technically speaking, they're the same universe but different timelines. But it would be cool to see like Aang versus Korra, like Avatar Aang versus Avatar Korra. That'd be a cool thing to see fight. Even though it's like canonical that every Avatar is stronger than the last, it'd still be cool. Or it could also be like
My
if they're doing
money's on Aang, to be perfectly honest.
if it would be time wise, I just have Twilight call Sunny a bitch. That'd be funny.
Okay.
The first line of this next question, Rav.
All right. If dick cheese could be blocked and sliced for sandwiches, how much vaginal marinara would we need to spread on our avocado toast to make a fuck trophy? A flushed consolation prize is acceptable too.
Bro, what were you on when you were writing these questions?
We were reading questions from a very good friend of ours, goes by Vylon.
If dick cheese could be blocked and slicked for sandwiches, How much vaginal marinara would we need on our avocado toast to make a fuck trophy? A Floss constellation prize is acceptable too. Can I just like you, Rav? I'm not answering that.
This is why we need a soundboard.
Right? Fuck. All right. Drink. You're ready for violent questions if we have time for them, but I have two more for you. Have you ever put your OC in a position you yourself would never be in of your own volition?
If it was applied to reality, then yeah, because like some of them there's like non-Connie with him doing it, so I wouldn't do that because I'm very against like obviously that in person in real life, obviously. But if it's fictionally, nah, not really. Like if it was applied, like if it's a fictional scenario, then yeah, no, I'd be down for whatever.
Okay.
And the only fic I have published in publicly is him getting fucked senseless, so you know my taste.
Alrighty. Last question. Don't look at the whole thing.
I already looked away. I'm looking at my vape right now.
What's 6 inches long, 2 inches wide, and everyone is excited to get it?
Just repeat that.
What's 6 inches long, 2 inches wide, and everyone is excited to get it?
Money? Like $1?
Damn, I was hoping you'd say dick. You're close. It's $100
Well,
bill.
it's because I've measured my dick with $1 before, so.
I was gonna say a $5 foot long.
Yeah, no, I've used it to like measure my dick, and I was like, all right, it's like pretty good. So
if your
was
$5
it
foot
right?
long is only 2 inches wide, you got problems.
Oh no, it's like 0.5 inches wide, but we don't talk about that.
No, I meant Enigma.
Oh, good for him.
If your $5 foot long is only 6 inches long and 2 inches wide, you got fucking problems, dude.
That's why you go to Jersey Mike's. Listen, they make good $5 foot longs.
Jersey Mike's is the shit.
Yes, sir.
I have not been there.
Acceptable.
We've only got a Jimmy John's down here, unfortunately. So
Tragic.
It's not bad. It's just not.
There was that last set of questions right at the very bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I didn't expect
All
to
right,
respond.
we're gonna do our best to get through empty plot filler before we run out of time.
I'll speedrun it.
Who is a character who's never shown to be an antagonist, but would have made for a more interesting villain?
One thing, milk scroll. Thank you. Sorry for being a douche. Okay, so what was the question?
Who was a character that was never shown to be an antagonist, but who would have made for a more interesting villain?
Zagora. I think she would have been a really cool villain. I think she would have been.
I saw it coming.
I think she would have been a cool villain. I always say. I think that or any of the main six. Literally any of them in the comics where they like pussied out of making them villains and made them like super like mediocre villains. I think they could have actually been like really good villains. Like a corrupted like evil main six or something like that, and the princesses have to be the ones to stop them. That would have been such a cool fucking finale.
Yeah.
Right?
Drink.
Okay.
I'm taking like wigs of alcohol. Is that the right way I'm supposed to be drinking?
Sure. It's up to the person. You're holding your wits about you. Just don't drive.
I don't drive with even a sip of alcohol. Don't drive, kids. It's bad.
Yes. Number 2, what is the biggest, most impactful rewrite you had to do before pushing a story you wrote to fix it?
I had to rewrite the entire like last 20,000 words of Prismatic Past, which was like the only time I had to do a big rewrite.
Oof.
It only took me like a couple hours to fix, but I write fast when I'm in the mode. If I'm in a good mode, I can write like 30,000 words in a day.
Wow.
Damn. I can only manage 8.
Okay, because I have at least like I have probably well over 1 million words that aren't published. I have like 20 fics that are done that I have never posted or published.
Do it, you nerd.
A lot of them are OC fics. So,
for your own creative writing process, what's the best balance of vulnerability to magic for human characters in the pony world?
I like to have it where they have limited resistance and they have somewhat latent magic in themselves. Like spoiler alert for the Uncommon Practices series, I'm gonna eventually come to the concept where like Anon himself can use magic, but it takes a while for him to get stronger and stronger and ramp it up. I like the idea that they have like latent magic in them they don't know about, and also just in general they're just like comically resistant to magic in some senses. Kind of like if you ever seen like One Punch Man, where like Tatsumaki tries to lift Saitama with her like telekinesis, he just kind of just doesn't move. and he's like, it feels like a weird massage. It's kind of like that. Either like that, or like he gets fucking yeeted across a football field by magic, and it'd be funny.
All right, number 5 is what happened in question number 4. Number 4 is my bad, found it, moving on.
There he is.
And number 6, any advice or recommendations for an author like myself who puts a lot of work into their stories but not a lot of feedback or reviews?
So don't care for views ever.
Yes. This
Views
is the
don't
correct
matter.
answer.
Views don't matter. If you fixate views, you're gonna always hinder yourself in terms of just wanting to expand and go further. Focusing on views is always the worst. As a guy that does social media, as like a technical job, and because I do management, views don't matter unless you're like a company. Just do what you enjoy, and feedback is always great. Engagement is great, but share it with your friends if they're willing to read it, and write for yourself. If you want to get better, you want to improve, do that for that. And you never know, if you get at least one view or like one like on your story, that means you made one person happier, or hornier, or they got some positive emotion from your story, or they enjoyed your story in some concept or in some way or shape or form, which is a good thing. If you can make anyone's day a little bit better in any shape, way, or form, you've done something good, and it's completely worth it, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. Well, that's all the questions that we got for today. So to wrap this out, Ebony, if someone catches this video or listens to this and says, "Oh shit, I didn't get my question in," and really want to hit up Ebony, what's the best ways for people to reach you or get in contact?
You can message me on Fimfic, or you can just DM my Twitter. Like my Discord's public, so like I'm very open to talking. I like conversating. I talk too much, as we probably learned on the stream, but yeah, I'm always open to chat. So Fimfic, Twitter DM, message my Discord, anywhere really. I'm always open to talk.
Hell yeah, brother. And what other things would we be expecting seeing coming from your user in the future?
Definitely more stories. A lot more. I have a lot planned. Safer work stuff. More art collabs. More of my OC being in places that frustrates people because he always shows up. Uh, I've gotten that thing where it's like, why is his OC and everything? My fault. But yeah, I just more of me being an idiot, and then for some reason you guys liking it, maybe question mark in parentheses
yeah.
quotations.
Well, we like you.
Yay!
We're so happy to have had you here. This has been a wonderful time. Milk, what do we have next week?
Next week we are going to fuck. What is next week?
You're gonna
Is it
fuck?
your birthday?
Yes, we
No.
are gonna fuck. We're not. Oh
That's
yeah, that's right.
lit.
We're doing Enigma's birthday, and then possibly some other hidden event that we aren't going to discuss yet.
Yay!
Ooh, happy early birthday, by the way.
They passed.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
doing.
it passed.
But I should have
Late
said
birthday.
belated birthday. We're doing
Belated birthday.
Yeah, we're terrible at organizing, but
Yes, yeah, same.
None of them knew it was my birthday, so I was standing outside waiting for them to pick me up from soccer practice.
Dude, it's alright.
Yeah.
I'll get you an Uber. I'll
sounds
take you
about right.
give you an Uber to Chuck E. Cheese. You go get those coins.
Well,
And
thank
yeah,
you.
I can't wait to work for hours and then get my prize of a fucking plastic
Slinky.
parachute man.
A Slinky.
Yeah, gotta get some fucking pencil erasers.
That with that dollar store pepperoni cheese pizza is worth it. You put in $200, you got like a 50-cent spider ring. Come on.
Yeah.
That's the shit. That's the shit. It's fucking lit. Exactly. That's the last drink right there.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this edition of the podcast. Your bartenders for this evening have been Enigmatic Otaku,
My bartenders?
Ravage,
I'm a bartender.
Milk,
I'm an eagle tender.
our amazing guest, EbonyGlow,
I'm an ebony tender. I don't know.
and I'm a chicken nuggy. Fucking bye.